The summer of 1940 saw the collapse of the French government in Europe, as German forces launched an invasion through the Ardennes forest and the surrounding Belgian border. Hitler forced the remaining French officials to sign an armistice in June of the same year. The signing took place in a train car near the town of Compiègne in northern France. The Germans occupied the northern region of France and established a fascist government in the south of the country named Vichy France, after a city where the new collaboration government was based. While the Free French forces under the leadership of French General Charles de Gaulle continued the fight in the colonies, French General Philippe Pétain was the new leader of the Axis-aligned government. At this point, the German ground forces seemed nearly unstoppable, using overwhelming combined armor, artillery, as well as air assaults on concentrated positions in the enemy's front lines, seeing great success, time and time again. So why is it that the Allies were so successful at liberating France in events like Operation Overlord? To find the answer to that, you need to consider the position Germany was in 1944. For one, the overwhelming majority of their military power was diverted to the Eastern Front, roughly 75% of it, leaving a smaller portion dedicated to the West. Another reason that compelled the Germans' early retreat from France was the Siegfried Line, a series of fortifications built by the Germans on the French-German border in the interwar period. These fortifications would have provided a strategic advantage for the Germans that the Allies would have had to break through. The Germans had initially planned to use coastal defenses along the occupied shores, called the Atlantic Wall, a massive fortification network with artillery batteries, machine gun emplacements, and hedgehogs spanning all across the coast of the occupied German territory. Not to mention hundreds of thousands of men, with the sole objective of protecting those beaches. So how did the Atlantic Wall fail? The Atlantic Wall failed thanks in part to Allied naval and air supremacy, as well as clever misdirection of which beaches would be stormed by the Allied forces. Another thing to note is the Germans had to stretch the garrisoning forces over a broad front, while the Allies could utilize concentrated attacks on the stretched German defenses. And on June 6, 1944, the Allies finally hit back, and they hit hard, deploying 150,000 men across 5 beaches in Normandy, accompanied by American paratroopers. This landing threw the Germans off guard. Instead of attacking the port of Calais like the Germans had anticipated, they attacked 223 miles away in Normandy. And after a long and vicious firefight, the Allies finally took control of the beaches. Once the Allies successfully secured landings at Normandy, they would link up the combined landing forces. While the Germans had forces in the town of Caen, the north of the peninsula was lightly defended, leaving easy work for the American forces to chase them down and seize the town of Cherbourg. Allied forces continued to smash into the Germans, liberating the town of Caen and blitzing through the west of France. American forces swept south, encircling the German army, triggering a large eastward retreat from the units who could escape. French cities were liberated like dominoes, encircling much of the Atlantic Wall garrison, and the Allies seized Paris with light resistance. Allied forces landed in the south of France, seeing mixed German resistance, liberating the south thanks in part to the French resistance forces. They began pushing upwards, uniting with the Allied forces in the north. As fighting continued in the east, the Allies swept into the southwest, taking out the isolated German garrison. At this point, the Allies have effectively liberated the entirety of France, excluding Alsace-Lorraine, so we will end the video here. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and comment your thoughts.